Make a really quick photo collage using Pixlr. So when you start going to pixlr.com, you're going to see lots of different options, but we're going to start with Pixlr E, which is the advanced photo editor, so it gives us more things to do. When I click on this, it's going to take me into here, and I am not going to open an image. I'm going to create a new image. And I'm going to start by going to print, and I want to choose letter. Now, if you pull these three dots down here, you are going to see more options, and I want more options, so the first thing I can do is give myself a real title so I know what this document is later on. You don't want to leave this untitled, so I could say, I'm going to make this one about pollution, so I'm going to say pollution collage. And I want to choose a background color, so I'm going to turn on the background, and I'm just going to go with white. You can choose whatever color you want, but then you're going to go click on Create. And you should get a full-size document like this. Now, we can go ahead and print this. We can change the size of this later to be larger if we need to, but we want to have a blank page to start with. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to open the images that you've saved. So I have saved some pictures into a folder. I recommend you do the same thing. And I'm going to go with my smokestacks, the water bottle, and the earth. Maybe this one too. So when you open them, they are going to be tabs across the top. So I'm going to go back and start with this smokestack, and I am going to select the entire thing. So if you want to select everything, I can do select all, or the shortcut is Control A. So let's go select all, and I'm going to copy. That's under Edit, and I can say copy or Control C. And then I'm going to go to my blank document, which was my pollution collage, and I'm going to paste, and that is Control V. Now, if you are on this arrow tool, which is our move tool, it allows you to simply stretch things out. You can grab those corners, stretch things out, and move this around. So I want a lot of smoke and a lot of smokestacks. Now I'm going to go find my earth, which is in here somewhere. There we go. Now the next tool we're going to use is the magic wand. This wand tool lets me pick up a single color. And if you have plain backgrounds like this, that's really great because I can just click on the white background and it selects all of that background. Now sometimes it'll get a little bit on the inside, and that's when we switch to the lasso tool, and I have three different modes. So I'm going to go to the remove selection mode, and I'm going to just remove a little bit of stuff that I didn't want to include, which is that. So I don't need to worry that this outside edge is perfect. If I want, I could feather that a little bit more just to make a fuzzy edge if I wanted to, but it doesn't matter too much because we're going to blend with it. Now right now it has selected the white part, so I'm going to go to select and say select invert selection, and now it's selected just the earth. I'm going to do my control copy. So Control C, I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to Control V to paste it. I'm going to go back to the move tool so I can move it and stretch it out to the size that I want. And so here is our first fun thing to play with. I want these two layers to blend together. So over here in my layers window, I have these two layers, and I am on the earth. So when I go to these three dots of the settings, I can change the blending mode of this image, and I'm going to try multiply. And as you click through things, you're going to get different versions of how these layers are going to blend together. And actually, overlay is really nice. It cleans up that edge for me. It lets some of that smoke show through. You can play with a lot of different things, but right now I'm going to go with just that overlay. All right, next thing, let's go add some water bottles. We're going to do that same trick again. So I'm going to click on the wand tool, click on this white space, and you can see it picked up a lot more this time, but that's okay. I'm going to go to my lasso tool, again, remove selection. This one is like I want to add more, but I'm going to remove some, and I'm going to remove just this little bit of the top. And then I'm going to remove this chunk in the middle. And so some people find it easier just to draw the bottle itself. I tend to find it easier to select the white and then just remove the parts that got included that I didn't intend to include. So I'm just going to remove all of these. And now it's just selected only the white space, so that when I go to select invert selection, I have just the bottle. Again, I'm going to do a Control C to copy, go back over here, and Control V to paste, go back to my move tool, and now I can stretch it out. So I'm going to go ahead and turn some of these, and like that. I can just do a paste again, and because I remember that I copied the bottle, so I don't have to recopy it, I just paste it again. The other thing you can do is if you have them in your layers here, you can just go down to the bottom. It says duplicate or Control D. And I can just duplicate them and I can move them. And so I can start to stack up my water bottles as many times as I want. So I'm going to build a bunch of these and then just rotate them because I want to show you how you can really play with these to get some really fun effects. So let's duplicate something here. There we go. All right, let's turn this last one sideways so that I can do something else with this. Okay, so I have all of these water bottles down here, but they look kind of the same and they don't really blend with anything in the background. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to make some of these different blending modes like I just showed you a minute ago. So, sorry, still playing. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to change this blending mode to multiply. And that sometimes, right, the blending modes are not great. So you kind of have to go through and say, which ones do you like? Sometimes lighter is nice, sometimes screen is nice. So just find what you like. And depending on what the bottle is stacked on, it might be a different thing. And each bottle will have their own blending mode. So just keep that in mind that you do need to go through and do them individually. So just because I did it for one, it doesn't mean that that's going to be the same for the others. And again, if I hover over them and it turns orange or red, I can know which one I'm on, and I'm just going to go ahead and multiply these. Okay. Now the other thing that I found out as I was playing with the blending modes is I found out that if I go in here and I choose exclusion, some of them go red. And that was really interesting to me because it kind of had this sort of like fiery look to it. And so I started to layer even more of them on top of each other. And so once I had one that I liked, then I just duplicated that, and then I just moved that around. And so I had these like mixing bottles, and they were kind of fiery, and they were kind of weird, and I really, really liked that. So I would recommend you start to play with them as well, and see what kind of modes and mixing works for you. So I'm just about done with this. I'm going to do one more, so I have like that fiery look to it. And then I decided that this was kind of separated, like this photo, all these water bottles piling up, and I really wanted it to blend together in a different way. So here is another trick. I'm going to go up to the top of my layers, and I'm going to make a new blank layer. And so I go to just this plus down here. I have lots of different options of what I want to build, and I want to build an empty layer. And you're going to see that it's a blank layer. And in here, I'm going to make a gradient. So this is a gradient. It is a gradual change from light to dark, but I can do that change in all of these colors. Now you can also build your own colors. So I want to have one that goes from blue to black. So it's like blue sky up here and then dark and muddy down there. So right now this one's on white. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a light blue. And whenever I click on either of the triangles, it tells me what color I'm on. And I want that one to be black, so I'm good with that. I now go to my document. You can see I'm on layer 14, which is empty. I'm just going to click and drag, and it's going to make it blue to black. Now everything underneath disappeared, so I'm going to go back to my settings, and I'm going to play with some of these blending modes and see if there's something I like. And that just kind of helps pull everything together. And there's all different kinds in here. Again, you kind of just want to take some time. Some are great, some are terrible. And one thing, oh, that was cool. Look how that smoke now blends in with the earth. Very cool. I can always change the order. I could put bottles on top of this if I don't like the effect across the bottom. But I also found that when I went to difference, it kind of made the world on fire. And that really went with my idea of like we're heating up the earth, the plastic on the bottom, and this overlay that I did down here. Everything just kind of worked together really well for me, and I just liked that. It was kind of like a happy accident. So that is one way to just get a really cool effect, is to make a gradient layer and then play with, again, those blending modes. When you are all done, you are just going to simply save this. And there are two ways to save this. If you need to have someone look at this and critique this, I would recommend that you do a save and save it with this one, the PXC. It is non-destructive, so it keeps your layers, and you can go back and edit this later. So we're going to save one version as that. The other version is the JPEG. This is just an image I can then send to anyone. I can open it with any program. I don't have to open this in Pixlr. I'm going to keep this on high quality and high size just so that I get as much information as I possibly can. I'm going to hit save, and this will allow you to save it directly into your Google Drive, and then you can share it, use it, print it, whatever you need to do with that. I've already saved one of these, so I'm just going to hit cancel. And I'll hit cancel again. But that is a quick tutorial on using the magic wand. The lasso tool, remember the lasso tool can just be a selection. You can add to that selection or you can take away from that selection. The move tool lets you just click on different parts of the image, and as you hover over them, I can then move that and do other things with it. And then we had our gradient tool, which allowed us to do lots of colors and have that color layer to help blend things together and kind of pull the whole effect together. Any other changes for blending modes are over here in my layers. These three dots let me go into my blend